Good evening, everyone. Welcome back once again. Am I loud and clear? Can you please respond in the chat box? Hopefully, this will be our last session for agricultural economics for this term, and we will be discussing the PYQ paper of 2025, previous year question paper for especially for the subject of agricultural economics. I hope the extension portions have been already completed by Ritisha. Am I audible? Can you please respond in the chat box? Sound is very low. How about now? Is it audible now? Is it okay now? Let me know if there are still problems persists. Okay, just give me a moment. Sound low. What about now? Can you respond in the chat box, please? Is it better now? Okay. Okay, so good evening, everyone. As I have already told, today we will be dealing with the agricultural economics questions from 2025, and this was the exam which was conducted last year. And to be really honest regarding this paper, I think the proportion of the questions asked from extension was a little more higher than economics from the number perspective. And regarding the difficulty level, it's actually a medium to hard level, mostly having factual questions rather than the basic questions or conceptual questions taken from the reports or maybe from the statistics portion center. And some numerical portions are also gaining more importance in the previous year trends. So before starting the examination, the answer keys or whatever it is, like what we are going to discuss right now, let me give you some last minute tips regarding assessing the difficulty level of the question paper. Okay, so you are provided with 2 hours, right? So for each question you will be having 1 minute, and you will be answering 120 questions. Obviously, maybe 20-25 questions will be there from general agriculture or maybe current agriculture. We don't know how actually the general agriculture or current agriculture questions would be. Even if we have studied thoroughly also, there can be chances of not getting possible answers from the general agri or current agriculture, right? Another thing, there can be like 50 or 50 plus questions from economics as well as extension, maybe 2 or 3 questions from the statistics portions too, right? And the idea is here for the examination, I guess, in the JRF examination, there are no proper order for the current agriculture or extension or economics. You will be having the questions in a mixed manner, right? Like it's not in a correct order, like whether the extension questions will be there or maybe in the economic questions will be there. There can be some similarities, but still there can be probability of there is a mixed order kind of thing will be there. So majority of the students, what actually the major mistake that they are committing is nothing but once they are starting the examination, from the first questions itself, because of the difficulty level, maybe they will be getting panic. Okay, we are just having 2 hours of time, and for majority of the questions, maybe for 50 to 60 questions, you need maybe less than 10 seconds or 20 seconds to answer. But the question is not given in the difficulty level order, right? Maybe in the first question itself, it can be a numerical for economics, and that can be out of our maybe our preparation or something like that. So at that point, should we start from the numericals first? That is the major question, right? So that's why I was telling a strategy to understand how actually the difficulty level of the question paper would be. Maybe if you are spending maybe 10 to 15 minutes to find out an answer for the first question itself, you will be provided with like maybe one hour plus 45 minutes for the rest of the questions. And towards the end, if the easiest questions are there, means like you will be having a little more panic, and there the probability of committing negatives will be there in the final questions, right? So first, what you have to do is nothing but, when the exam starts, just scroll the questions, and if you're seeing some statement questions or numericals or maybe lengthy questions, maybe some kind of paragraphs, or maybe given 2 or 4 statements, or maybe the match the following questions or numericals or whatever it is, by seeing the panel itself, you will be understanding whether it is actually a factual or a direct question, or it is a question which is actually requiring a little more attention. Okay, maybe after cool off time you will be already exhausted, and once the exam starts, it's not like your brain is already prepared to attend any of the questions, right? So seeing such questions, just scroll it down. You don't need to answer it. Just go to the next question and find out only the actual questions, or find out only the simplest questions, where actually the question will be in one line and the answer will be pinpointed out. Okay, answer it first and do the procedure for the entire examination. Maybe within 15 to 20 minutes, you can complete the entire question paper for first round. So what is the peculiarity of this first round? The chances of committing mistakes is absolutely zero, because you are cherry picking the easiest questions, you are cherry picking the direct questions, direct hit questions, and you have committed all of them, maybe 95 to 96 percentage of the answers that you have given will be already correct by right now. And by doing so, after first round, first point, you are getting a thorough analysis about how actually the question paper is set up, whether there is more statement questions, or whether it is an easy paper or a hard paper, because anyway you will be having a glance and you will be having an idea. And once the direct questions are reaching almost 50 to 60, you can assess that okay, the paper is absolutely good. Maybe 30 to 35 questions additionally you can get the time, as well as like you can give enough time to go through it and commit less negatives for the questions which is actually requiring some time. Don't worry, the network is actually having some difficulty, so it will be all right soon. Don't worry about it. If something is needed for repeating, I will be obviously repeating it. Don't worry about it. Okay, so what I was telling is like, for the first round, maybe by 20 minutes to 30 minutes, you should complete the question paper for one round. There should not be like doing the numericals or statement question for too much time, and should not rush to the final questions in the last minute. By doing so, by doing completing round, you already have the idea how the question paper is. You already assessed the difficulty of the question paper, and you have got the entire idea like how you have to proceed. If the difficulty level, see, if the factual questions or the direct hit questions are just less than 30 or 40, then obviously you will be understanding that the paper difficulty level is a little more higher, right? So therefore, attending the questions which are absolutely right and committing less negative should be your priority. At the same time, if after the first round, if you are feeling like okay, if it is actually having major questions are direct hits only, then the possibility to get more marks is attending more. It's not like you should simply just guesswork and attend more questions, but still minimizing the possibility of committing mistakes, you should be assessing like to what range I should answer. If the question paper is easy, maybe you may have to answer maybe from maybe 100 or 110 or maybe 115 you may have to answer. If even after taking the chances, that is what I'm telling. I'm not pushing you to answer the questions for like maybe 115 answers. If the question paper is really easy, then you may have to take the chances. At the same time, if the question paper is really hard, you have to make maximum correct answers and minimize the negatives, so that maybe it will be reaching maybe 95, 100 or 105 maybe. Okay, so this is how actually the answering procedure should be going. And the second advantage of doing the same thing, like maybe going round after round for the entire question is nothing but your brain will be on by the time, because like after frisking procedure you may have to wait a long time. Maybe your laptop, maybe your computer may be having some issue in between, or maybe the surroundings may not be having a good adequate, like maybe lighting, or maybe whatever it is. There can be many uncertainties, but don't panic about it. Once you complete the first round, you have many questions which is answered. Also, by the time your entire panic situation will be over, and like you will be in a mood to answer the statement questions, conceptual questions, or maybe the numericals. That is the absolute point where you have to apply your, yeah, good evening. So that is the point that you may have to apply your brain properly, right? So first of all, if you're going to the tough questions, means it will be really difficult. So this is what actually I just want to give you as a final tip for assessing your question paper for the difficulty level, as well as minimizing the possibility of committing negatives in the answers. Rest of the things you will be doing, that's for sure. So as I am starting the PYQ session of this 2025, as I have already told, economics questions, as I have already told, it's mostly factual, maybe from some reports or something like that. So it's not, you may not insist yourself, like don't be hard upon yourself, like remembering all the things by heart. Like there can be chances of coming errors, right? So for such things, as I have already told, this is a medium to hard level question papers. It's absolutely, like even if we are explaining every questions to you, it's absolutely zero chance that you are going to answer every questions from agricultural economics. We are just giving you the glimpse like how actually the answers are derived up. We are doing some smart works here maybe, but it's not like you may have to answer each and every questions. Like maybe in some of the numerical portions or in some of the questions, if you feel like okay, this is not, I have not studied, even I felt like okay, these are some of the out of syllabus, or maybe like wherever, like they can keep the questions from anywhere, right? So therefore it's absolutely your choice whether to attend it or not. Nobody is here who have attended and cleared all the answers of the agricultural economics correctly, properly last time. Okay, so that is what actually I just want to give you as a brief introduction. Don't worry about it. So anyway, we'll just proceed with the 2025 PYQ of agricultural economics. So let me introduce myself. I am Ajay and I have done my undergraduation from College of Agriculture, Padanakkad, Kerala Agricultural University, and did my masters in Hyderabad PJTSAU. And currently I am pursuing my PhD in the same subject of agricultural economics. In the year of 2021, I have secured all India rank 27 in the ICAR PG examination, and in the year of 2023, I have secured all India rank 4 in the ICAR SRF examination, and then an ASRB net holder also. So yes, uh, coming to the first question, arrange in ascending order the following commission agents or traders in agriculture according to the amount of business they handle, right? So as the question directly hits to the agricultural marketing portion, the thing that we have to do right now is nothing but we have to arrange this from the ascending order from the lowest to the highest for the business agents or the market middleman, which is actually given based on the amount of business they handle. It's nothing but the bulk of or the volume of the produce that they are actually handling, right? So we should know how much actually they are having it. As such, in the textbooks wherever you have studied, there is no absolute such some arrangements or something. So this is absolutely logical, right? So whom all are the, like which are the people that we are having? First one, it is none other than your village merchant. Who was village merchant? It's none other than your village trader, right? Like we have seen him in the primary market, also in the secondary market, because like in the primary market, a village trader will be there. He'll be producing from the producing from the farmers, sorry, procuring from the farmers, assembling it, but means he'll be taking all the produce almost in produced in a particular village, he'll be taking to the next part, and none other than to your secondary market, right? So that is what, none other than your village merchant, who was actually in itinerant trader. Itinerant traders are those traders who are actually traveling from one village to another village, collecting the products from one village, selling it from the other village, collecting the products from that village, selling in another village. So they are traveling, in fact, right? So they are actually a little more like what we call for it, since they are traveling, means like it's like they can't store much bulk, At the same time, when it comes to village merchant, they will be the localate, because like we are seeing them in the primary market or in the village market or in the local market, right? So therefore we can say that itinerant trader is actually having a little more lesser bulk than that of the village merchant, right? So therefore itinerant trader will be the first, then only comes the village merchant. What about this pakka arhatya and kacha arhatya? We have conceptually studied what is this pakka arhatya. Arhatyas and arhatya is none other than the other name for commission agents, right? So commission agents you can find out in the regulated markets, right? And what was pakka arhatya and kacha arhatya? We have discussed this in our masterclass course. Pakka arhatya is none other than the commission agent who is working on behalf of the farmers. Kacha arhatya is actually commission agents who is actually working on behalf of farmers. Pakka arhatya is actually working on behalf of the consumers, right? So therefore consumers will be having somebody who is actually acting upon themselves, like the one who is actually representing the consumer is none other than your pakka arhatya. The one who is actually representing the farmer will be kacha arhatya. So who will be having the highest volume of produce? It's none other than, like, see, we can say that the kacha arhatya will be having lesser value and the pakka arhatya will be having the higher value. Why? Because when you are proceeding from the market channel, from the producer, then maybe wholesaler will be coming, then retailer will be coming, and finally the consumer will be coming, right? So the one who is actually working on behalf of the consumer is actually having a lot of consumer population in their hand. So therefore he have to store as much as things that he literally wanted to distribute to the different consumers, even if he is actually working for a particular uh, consumer. He may be having he's actually not working for a single consumer. There is a large consumer population, right? So obviously the pakka arhatya will be handling higher than that of the kacha arhatyas. As we already know that in the agricultural scenario, always the supply will be less than that of the demand, right? So therefore when the supply is less than that of the demand, the arhatya or the commission agent who's actually working on behalf of the farmer will be always having lesser product. But at the same time, the one who is actually providing to the retailers may be requiring more and more products, right? So therefore, logically speaking, pakka arhatya will be having higher than product of kacha arhatya, right? So therefore it will be b less than, a less than, then after that the pakka arhatya will be, sorry, kacha arhatya will be there, that is d, and finally the pakka arhatya c. So b less than a less than d less than c, option a will be the correct answer. As I have already told, as I have commission agent in unregulated market. No, commission agents you can find out in regulated as well as in unregulated market. But brokers are actually absent in the case of regulated market. You can see brokers only in the case of unregulated market. Okay, brokers will be only there in the unregulated market, but commission agents you can see both in the case of unregulated as well as regulated market. The commission agents who is actually seen in a regulated market is also known as A class trader. A class trader. He is also known as A class trader. That is, in regulated, it's called A class trader. Yes, that's it. So this is about the first question. Let's proceed. Arrange the following prices from the highest to the lowest. So here it is actually in the descending order, right? So these key terms you have to read once again, okay? If I was writing this examination, I would have been skipping all these things because it's actually requiring a little more time to think properly, right? So therefore you can just leave the question and come back, or you can mark it for review. You would have seen the such kind of options in the panel, right? So mark for review, go further, then come back. That is the major, because like you have to think about each and every prices, right? So therefore arrange the following prices from the highest to the lowest. So in the descending order we have to arrange the prices under the normal situation. So they are, again, it is actually a general question. From the general perspective, under there is normal circumstances, how it would be. This one also, you will not be finding this kind of arrangement of such kind of prices anywhere. This is actually purely your logic, right? So from the marketing channel perspective, there will be a producer and finally there will be a consumer, right? So from the producer, it will be going to maybe wholesaler, then maybe to some processor, or maybe from to a retailer, and then to the consumer, right? So this is actually your marketing channel. So from the marketing channel, we know that as the agricultural marketing process is going on from one intermediary to other intermediary, there are some costs and there are some margins incurred. right? So therefore the price will be more and more. We have studied the market margin and price spread concepts here, right? So obviously as we are proceeding from the initial to the end, we are seeing some price hikes. That's why actually we are trying to find out the marketing efficiency, because of the producer share in consumer rupee and all. How much part of the price which is sold by the brought by the consumer is actually reaching the producer. That is a major thing that we were studying in the producer share in consumer rupee and all, right? So this is a conceptual question, and we are going to see like how actually the prices will be upon their magnitude if we are having some basic idea regarding this marketing channel. So wholesale price, it's already coming almost in the middle, right? Then there is producer price. What is producer price? The price which is actually received by the producer, that is none other than your producer price. Farm harvest price, also retail price. So these two was actually a little confusing, so here we have to give a little more attention. Rest of the things like wholesale price and retail price, which will be the highest? The final price, the consumer what is actually he is paying, that is none other than your retail price, right? So obviously the retail price D will be the maximum. Then anyway wholesale price will be there, right? Wholesale price will be a little more lesser, so therefore wholesale price will be less than that. Then we have producer price as well as farm harvest price. What will be happening to this producer price as well as farm harvest price? So here actually yes, producer price is none other than the price which is actually received by the farmer after deducting the cost. Farm harvest price is none other than the price which is actually received by the farmer at the farm gate. Okay, so conceptually speaking, what actually happens? Harvest is actually happening. Once the harvest is completed, soon it will be sold to somebody, maybe a trader or whatever it is, and some price will be getting. That is none other than your farm harvest price. From that price, some cost which is actually already incurred to the farmer, maybe they may have to proceed in, maybe they'll be paying to the labor who is actually working, or maybe some immediate payments as some rent or something like that. So that is also actually reduced, which is actually consisting of this producer price. So automatically what will be happening? The producer price will be much lesser when the absolute money which is actually coming to the pocket at the farm gate. So therefore your farm harvest price will be a little more higher than that of the producer price. So therefore the minimum will be producer price, and the second one will be your farm harvest price, and the third one will be your wholesale price, and final one will be your retail price. This one is actually a retail price. So therefore BCAD, right? It's highest from lowest. So therefore the retail price, this is first, then this is second, then this is third, and this is fourth. So therefore D, A, C, D. D will be your correct answer here. So this is how actually, see, here also like, see, we are just applying the logic. Here we are applying the concept. And once you already have the retail price, you can already eliminate these two options, right? Because we already know that the retail price is higher. So eliminating these options, it's a little more easier to arrive at the answer, rather than even if you are getting a little more confused here. Okay, I hope you got my point, because retail price, wholesale price, these two things you are already sure. Rest of the things, even if you are confused with the producer price as well as the farmer's price, for the sake of explanation, I have given the answer. But do you really need it? No, because already DA, this is already coming here. This is actually DC. You already know that farm harvest price as well as the producer price will be less than that of the wholesale price. So therefore, don't even worry about it. Okay, this is how actually you have to connect with the answer. Can you follow me? Is it going like, is the pace is okay? Okay, which of the following is or are the causes of failure of cooperative farming? So we have studied cooperative farming in our farm management as well as in agricultural marketing. So we already know the motto, all for each and each for all. People are pooling their land, pooling their resources, and they are trying to they'll be having higher bargaining power. We have seen some principles of the cooperation also, right? And we have seen many cooperative farming models and all. But there are many challenges which is actually what we call for it, like which is actually affecting the actual working or maybe the success of the cooperative farming. So there are some causes. First one is lack of capital, second one is attachment with the land, third one is literacy, fourth one is loss of independence. So which are all the correct answers? So here you can simply logically think, right? First one, majority of the farmers who's actually joining a cooperative will be those people who are actually having lack of capital, and they are pooling their capital by themselves. Still they are having lack of like capital adequacy will be much lesser, right? So therefore obviously capital is a major issue when it comes to a cooperative for a long run success. It's not kind of a business model, right? You may can, it will be a little more better than that of the one who's actually working as a sole entrepreneur or maybe a single proprietorship, but at the same time he may not be in a position, or the entire cooperative organization may not be in a position to pull off the business to a profit making mechanism. So therefore lack of capital, obviously it will be there. Second one, attachment with the land. Majority of the farmers who's actually doing even people, there are farmers who's actually reluctant to convert to the high yielding varieties. Even there are people who are actually reluctant to move to the scientific cultivation which makes use of the chemical pesticides and fertilizers, because there is a divine perspective in the farmers, like attachment with the land, the virginity of the land, the tradition that our forefathers started from the agricultural sector, all these things. So this attachment with the land is another issue. So that is actually another major issue, which is also another thing. Third one is literacy. Even if they are pooling the resources and starting, the lack of, maybe the lack of farm records, maybe the lack of education or awareness regarding doing the profitability analysis, or maybe the scientific or advanced technologies or up-to-date technologies, illiteracy will be another issue. So this is another problem. And fourth one, loss of independence. While they are pooling the land, they may have to democratically decide like who's actually want to make the decision and what is actually some others plan. Even if I just want a mixed, like kind of a diversified farmstead mechanism, but after joining with the cooperative organization, what will be happening? For the profit making thing, I may have to shift the entire land to some, maybe some cash crops or something. So therefore the individual proprietors independence of deciding as a farm manager is lost after joining the cooperation, and maybe after some time, maybe there will be rivalry in between the members, and it will be going to maybe collapses, right? So therefore loss of independence, this also can be another cause. So as such, you may not be finding all these things as bullet points to be studied for the final examination, but you can understand from the answers itself that these anything can cause the failure of the cooperation. So therefore A, B, C and D will be the correct answer here. Okay, clear? Then given below are two statements. Substitution at an increasing rate is the more common case in agriculture. So here actually, if I would say that the question, which is actually, I don't know who have said this question, should have been a little more specific, right? Obviously people who have studied a little better here will be confused in the first statement. Substitution at an increasing rate is more common case in agriculture. He have not specified whether it is actually resources or whether it is actually of product substitution, because we have studied that in the factor relationship. If you are in a position to understand this point, that for factor relationship we can see decreasing rate of substitution in the case of factors, but if you are checking the products in agriculture, you will be seeing an increasing rate of product substitution more frequently in agriculture, right? I think if you can pull off this point, you are good with the subject of production economics right now. But here it is actually not properly mentioned. Okay, so leave the question. Leave the statement. Second statement, the slope of the ISO product curve is given by units of change in the added resource divided by the units of change in the replaced resource. Here actually we have something. First, it is actually told ISO product curve. ISO product curve is none other than your ISO quant curve, right? So in ISO quant curve, it is given by units of change in added resources divided by the units of change in the replaced resources. So since in second statement it is given regarding the ISO quant, you can connect this like, okay, they are dealing with the statement 1 regarding the, I mean the factor relationship, right? Mostly the two statements which is given will not be contradictory. It will be there is only chances of getting connected with each other, right? So therefore Substitution at an increasing rate is more common in case of agriculture, in case of factors. Whether it is correct or not? No, not at all. If it was product, they would have been mentioning it, because we are mostly concerned with the law of diminishing returns. Am I correct? So the law, because of the working of law of diminishing returns only, we can see the decreasing rate of substitution in agriculture. So it is majorly connected with the factors, right? That's why statement 1 cannot be correct. This is actually wrong, because substitution at a decreasing rate is more common in the case of agriculture when it comes to the factors. So therefore statement 1 can be correct. What about statement 2? Slope of the isoproduct curve is given by units of change in the added resource divided by the units of change in the replaced resource. What was slope of isoquant? Slope of isoquant is none other than your marginal rate of technical substitution of two resources, maybe x1, x2, right? So what was the concept of marginal rate of technical substitution? The quantity of x2 which is replaced when I am adding 1 unit of x1 by 1 unit, right? So therefore always when we are having a general equation, how we try to represent the marginal rate of technical substitution, it was actually none other than the change in the quantity replaced divided by change in the quantity added, right? So therefore when I am adding 1 unit of one resource, how much unit of the other resource, the substitute resource, is getting sacrificed? That is the basic idea of marginal rate of technical substitution, or the slope of the isoquant, right? They are telling that slope of the isoproduct curve is given by units of change in the added resource divided by units of change in the replaced resource. No, it would have been correct if the statement was like this: the slope of the isoproduct curve is given by units of change in the sacrificed resource divided by units of change in the added resource, right? So therefore this is also a wrong answer. So therefore statement 1, statement 2 both are incorrect. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are incorrect. B will be your correct answer. Replaced by added. Yes. I am so glad that you are following me. So yes, this is actually a controversial, or I don't know, like again, from your perspective, if I am telling that if I was there, I would not be doing this question for the first. I'll be keeping this question for the last if I had enough time. Okay. So suppose a farmer wants to have 10 lakh after 15 years from now. How much would he have to invest today with an annual rate of returns equal to 10%? The question is very easy. In order to get 10 lakh rupee after 15 years, how much I may have to invest right now? We have studied the time value of money. We have studied two major concepts. You would be familiar with it: compounding as well as discounting. So what is compounding? Finding the future value with respect to the present sum, right? Future value of the present sum. What is discounting? It is none other than the present value of the future sum, right? So here, which method we may have to do, whether it is compounding or whether it is discounting, you can give it in the chat box. So here we just want to understand how much I may have to invest right now in order to get 10 lakh rupees after 15 years. So we have a future value. So we have to find out the present value, present worth of the future value, right? So therefore we have to use the terminology, or we have to use the concept of discounting, right? So therefore we have a future here. Future, it is actually 10 lakh. So the present, we have 15 years. So therefore we have to calculate it back. This is none other than your discounting. So therefore our theory is clear here. Theory is clear. So what is actually the mathematical formula? Mathematical formula is none other than the present value is none other than your future value divided by 1 plus rate of discount raised to time period. This is actually your discounting formula. If it was compounding, it is very easy, right? Future value is equal to present value into 1 plus r all raised to n. The idea is simply the same. Like if I need to calculate it for the future, obviously the amount will be like increased. So therefore it will be multiplied with the same factor, 1 plus r all raised to n. Here actually, in order to calculate it back for a future value, it will be lesser value today. So therefore we will be just dividing it with this factor. So therefore if you are applying this equation, you will be getting this answer. That till that it is clear, I guess. But the problem is actually the values that which is actually given is not that easily calculatable, because you don't have a calculator. So if you are good in mathematics, you can proceed with it. because direct answer you will be getting. But if it is actually taking a little more time means you have to just skip it. Okay, so therefore our present value is none other than, what is our future value? It is none other than your 10 lakhs. 10 lakhs divided by 1 plus, what is actually our discount rate here? 10%, right? So 10% is none other than 10 by 100. 1 by 10, 0.1. 1 plus 0.1 all raised to 15. So here is actually the issue. Okay, so 10 lakh divided by 1.1 all raised to 15. This is actually your answer. But this 1.1 all raised to 15, if you are, as I have already told, if you want to calculate this again multiple times for 15 times, you may not, I don't know whether some easy equations, like maybe you would be good in mathematics, then it is fine. So it almost come like maybe 4.16 or something like that. And the final answer is, I have to calculate. I'm not good in this kind of mathematics. Okay, 2,39,235 rupees. Exactly this value will be coming after calculating 10,000 divided by 4.16. Okay, so this is how actually you will be arriving at this answer. So as I have already told, maybe in order to steal your time, they will be giving some questions like this, because see, it's nothing, it's simple, right? I don't know whether in the panel in the answering template you will be having a calculator this time or not, because at some of the examination you will be finding a calculator attached with, right? If the calculator is there, you will be finding the answer very easily, or else it will be finding it will, even if the concept is clear and if the equation is simpler also, it will be taking a little more time. So think about before you starting to do this whether it is actually consuming time a lot, because just for this examination maybe you will be finding a little difficulty. So therefore B will be the correct answer here. Okay, yes, match the following question. It's whenever the match the following question, you should try to attend it, because like maybe from the answer links you may be reaching back to the to the correct answer. Okay, so as the question suggests, it is directly from the agricultural finance question. It is very much easy. Then there are some statements as well as some repayment plans are given in the list one. The corresponding synonymous statements and repayment plans are given in the statement 2. So first one, profit and loss statement. It is none other than your income statement. The other name for income statement is none other than your profit and loss statement, right? So therefore, income statement, profit and loss statement, this will be connected with 3. A will be connected with 3. Then what are there? Balloon repayment plan, net worth statement, lump sum repayment plan. So therefore we have 2 repayment plans and 2 statements. First statement we have already connected. Second statement, net worth statement. This is none other than the first statement that we are studying, which is none other than your balance sheet, right? Third one is cash flow statement, which is also known as flow of fund statement. So therefore the name as well as its synonyms are really important. So these two are really easy, right? Profit and loss statement is income statement. Net worth statement is none other than your balance sheet. So therefore A is connected with 3, C is connected with 4. A is connected with C is connected with 4. Okay, so we have eliminated A is not the correct answer, D is not the correct answer, and both of them are connected with 3 as well as 4. Okay, so we need to go for balloon repayment as well as the lump sum repayment plan. So lump sum repayment plan is the first repayment plan we are studying, where actually after the return comes, the entire amount, principal plus interest, is actually gone to the direct payment in the final payment, right? So therefore it is also known as straight end repayment plan. So therefore D is connected with 1. So therefore D is also connected with 1. Your B will be your correct answer. And what about C? Balloon repayment plan, which is also known as a partial repayment plan. Some mathematical example has directly given in the Subhareddy's textbook. You would be already knowing it. So therefore this is how actually you have to match. Like if just see for the easiest ones and see the options whether it is connected and the final answer is here. Yes. So this is how actually we are arriving in the answer. B will be your correct answer. Then as per the National Statistical Office estimates, what was the percentage share of the gross capital formation in the agriculture and allied sector of the total gross capital formation in the economy in 2021-22 at current prices? This was actually a proper factual question, maybe from the current agriculture question, and they are seeking for the correct answer. So therefore, before proceeding, you would be knowing the gross GDP, the gross domestic product, the percentage of agriculture and allied sectors gross domestic product to the agriculture is none other than almost 18%. Okay, and this gross capital formation is something else. They try to change the pattern. So that's how they have asked for the gross capital formation. And the question paper was on 2025 and they were asking regarding 2021 and 22. Okay, so therefore gross capital formation, this is actually a factual question. I don't blame you if you don't remember this, because like if we are going to study such kind of things, it will be taking too much things. So here the gross capital formation is none other than 8.53%. 8.53%. These are generally from the economic survey reports or maybe the budget estimates and all. So general things. So gross capital formation is 8.53%, and it is option D will be the correct answer here. Then this is actually a question from the statistics portion. Chi-square test is used for testing the independence of the attribute. Chi-square test is not used for the goodness of it. So therefore, there are two types of test called parametric test as well as non-parametric test. I don't know how good you are in statistics. So therefore, in parametric test, basically the thing is nothing but we will be studying some data already. Like maybe when you are doing the extension as well as economics PG, you'll be doing some research. So research is basically based on some data. Data can be different types, right? Like nominal data is there, ordinal data is there, interval data is there, ratio data is there, right? Based on some of the, so here when it comes to categorical data, or we can say that it is none other than your ordinal data. So what is categorical data? Categorical data is none other than like whether the man is male or female. If male, we will be giving a value 1. If female, we will be giving a value of 0. They are categories, right? So therefore, we just want to translate this category like that. Or else like maybe if you after maybe watching this entire session, maybe you will be asked to give a rating for us out of 5. Okay, maybe 100% will be rating it. Maybe 10 will be rating 5, 25 will be rating 4, right? So therefore, for each category, 5 stars, how many? 4 stars, how many? 3 stars, how many? So these are categories, right? 5 star is a category, 4 star is a category, 3 star is a category. At the same time, if you are asked to maybe uh, asked to like assess the length of a plant, height of a plant, whether it will be like, okay, 1 meter, 2 meter, 3 meter, no, you can divide it, right? So therefore, there can be continuous variables also. That is the difference between categorical variable as well as continuous variables. So when we are coming regarding the parametric test as well as non-parametric test, parametric test generally we will be having this continuous variables. But when it comes to non-parametric test, mostly for the categorical variables, we'll be having this kind of non-parametric test. And there are some other basic criteria also, like maybe kind of the normal distribution is required for the parametric test. Normal distribution is not required for the non-parametric test, which is actually having a little more depth, but we don't want it right now. So basically, we should understand which are the parametric test and which are the non-parametric test. Parametric tests include all the basic tests that you will be studying in your UG practicals, like maybe T test, Z test, F test, ANOVA. All these things are coming under the continuous variable. So therefore, it will be coming under the parametric test. Chi-square test is actually regarding categorical variables. So therefore, it is coming under the non-parametric test, right? So therefore, non-parametric test, there are other tests also, but chi-square test is a major thing that will be asked in the examination from the non-parametric test. And what for actually all these tests are required? That is another thing that you have to just revise. Maybe in the introduction to social science textbook, in the final part, it will be given in the crisp manner. Just follow like what are actually happening in the t-test. We are trying to compare the means of two different groups. What happens in the F test? We are trying to compare the variances of the two different groups. What happens in the Z test, where actually the sample is requiring more and sample is requiring less? Why actually T test is actually also called as like the large sample test or small sample test, such kind of things. So regarding this, we are dealing with the like by dealing the question, I was giving some additional points just to revise and figure out. So chi-square test, as we already know that it is actually used for testing the independence of the attributes. So it is actually connected with, like, there are two categories. I'll be giving you an example. There are maybe we are trying to find out like how many people are liking the beauty product Fair and Lovely. Okay, so in the population there are men are there, women are there. There are two categories, who like and who doesn't like. Okay, so therefore we will be just checking like how many men like Fair and Lovely, how many men doesn't like Fair and Lovely, how many women like Fair and Lovely, how many women doesn't like Fair and Lovely. So the intersection will be much lesser because men generally doesn't like only a minority will be attracted to the beauty products, right? They will not be liking it. At the same time, females, they a little more, since being a little more beauty conscious, they will be attracted to the beauty products. So therefore we have two categories, right? So there actually we, this chi-square test, we are trying to find out the interdependence of the or independence of the two major groups or attributes. So statement 1, chi-square test is used for testing the independence of attributes. Statement 1 is actually correct here, right? And the second one, chi-square test is not used for goodness of it. In fact, this general statement that we already study is none other than chi-square test is a major test that we already use for studying the goodness of fit of a particular experiment or model. So therefore, not, if not was not there, the statement 2 would have been correct. So therefore, chi-square test is used for goodness of fit. Statement 2 is also correct. So therefore, statement 1 is correct. Statement 2 is wrong. Statement 1 is correct. Statement 2 is incorrect. C will be your correct answer. Then, next question. Sequence the following steps involved in procedural flow of ENAM transactions of trading. Just giving you some basic ideas. It was came in 2016. The implementing agency is none other than Small Farmers Agri Business Consortium. Then it is actually a national electronic portal which integrates the regulated as well as unregulated markets. So they, deviating from the normal pattern, they try to figure out like what is the procedure formality. So we shall see the story how actually we are going to. So from the options again, you can even if you are not sure about it also, you can find out the answer here. So we'll see. Assaying and grading of the lot, assaying as well as grading of the lot, this is actually none other than the checking the quality as well as the standardization and grading kind of thing, right? Like checking the quality specifications, to what extent actually the product is having quality. So this is regarding the scientific inspection of the product, right? Second one, unique lot number, unique lot ID number. So it's none other than tagging the ID or tagging the product which is actually came to the market. Sale bill generation, sale bill generation is none other than the invoice generation, the final bill generation. Online bidding, online bidding is none other than something which is actually done in the online market for getting the better prices, right? So what will be happening in the ENA market? From the option itself we can make the story. What will be happening in the ENA market? Producer have the product, they will be coming to the market and giving to uh, the agencies or the authorities who are actually there, right? So therefore they will be collecting, they will be registering this product, and for the particular product which is already there, they will be giving a unique lot ID number for the product which is already registered and came to the market. Because like it, for in every other processes which is actually it is going to follow, this ID number will be actually the tag which is actually connecting with the farmer who's already associated with this particular product, and it will be just completely like followed in the entire procedures. So therefore unique lot ID number, this will be your actually the first step, right? The second step, after getting this unique lot ID number, what will be happening? It is got registered, so therefore the quality check and specification will be done, right? So therefore assaying as well as the grading of the lot will be done in order to get the better price or in order to make it properly to the sale. After getting the grades as well as the standards, the agency can simply present it as in a, like a kind of a Flipkart or an Amazon order in the ENAM portal, right? You can give like, okay, this is actually the standard and grade and this is the date and all the things, that this is the unique lot ID. Whomever who actually requiring this, they can buy it, right? So once it is there in the electronic trading portal, what will be happening? Buyers will be bidding for it, right? The one who is actually giving highest bid, they will be getting the product. So therefore online bidding will be the third step. After the bidding is done for the best bid, the one who's actually ready to pay the money, the product will be sold, and for that a bill also will be generated, sale bill generation. This is how actually the story goes. So therefore choose the correct answer. 1 2 3 4, B, A, D, C. Option D will be your correct answer. Okay, this is how you have to find out the answer here. Which of the following is or are examples of near money? So we have studied different measures of money such as M1, M2, M3 and M4, right? I hope you already remember like what are the components which is actually coming in M1, M2, M3 and M4. Generally M1 is also known as the narrow money. M3 is also known as the broad money. So as you know, what is M1? M1 is generally the cash uh, uh, which is actually already there in the public, right? Cash which is actually proper, means which is holding by the public, as well as the demand deposit. So why actually it is called as narrow money? Because it can be easily liquidated, like it's already there near to the hands of the people for the easiest or maybe the near time settlements. You can use the M1. Moving from M1 to M2, M3 and M4, there are existence of maybe some time deposits and all, which actually takes some time to liquidate. So that's why actually M1 is known as narrow money. So they are asking which are all the examples of near money or narrow money. So near money, which is actually ready to liquidate, which includes government bonds, treasury bills, commercial bills, as well as postal orders. Postal orders, I guess, yes, postal orders are also there. Postal orders, all these things you can liquidate very much easily, so that therefore everything will be having a will be coming under the perspective of near money. So therefore A, B, C and D, option D will be your correct answer. Government bonds, treasury bills, commercial bills and postal orders will be your correct answer. Okay. Yes. Coming to the next question, market equilibrium is determined by which of the following conditions? This is the I think this is the easiest question that you can find out in this paper. Market equilibrium. Whenever we are studying the microeconomics, marketing, everywhere we have seen that the demand should be equal to supply. That is none other than your market equilibrium condition, right? So therefore, aggregate demand should be equal to aggregate supply. What are the other options? Tangency of the indifference curve and budget line. No, this is not the market equilibrium. This was actually consumer equilibrium. Marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. It was not the market equilibrium, it was profit maximizing. Total revenue is equal to total cost. This was none other than your break-even point. Eliminating all these things, aggregate demand will be equal to aggregate supply. Option A will be your correct answer. Can you follow me? Is everything okay till now? Can you give me a thumbs up? Yes, another statement question. Remember what actually happens with the statement questions? We need a little time for discussing, right? So therefore, skip to the easiest question, complete it, come back and do this. So first statement, net capital ratio is the most important measure of the overall solvency position of the farmer borrower. Net capital ratio. Do you remember net capital ratio? We have studied some ratio figures, right? Current ratio, intermediate ratio, net capital ratio. So what was net capital ratio? Net capital ratio is none other than your total assets divided by total liabilities, which is one of the most important measure of overall solvency position of the farmer borrowers. Statement 1 is correct because it is total assets as well as total liabilities. So therefore, it is actually showing the overall solvency position. How much time it will take to dissolve the entire business, because it actually have current assets, intermediate assets as well as the long term assets. So that's why actually we are taking the total assets as well as the total liability. So obviously this net capital ratio will be giving you a particular idea about how much this overall solvency position of the farmers will be there, right? So therefore statement 1 is correct. What about statement 2? Gross ratio gives the gross income obtained for each rupee of capital invested over the year. Gross ratio. So what is gross ratio? Gross ratio is actually not connected with the capital, right? Gross ratio is actually total expense divided by total income. Its gross ratio is your total expense divided by total income, right? So the gross ratio gives the gross income obtained for each rupee of capital invested over the year. It is actually not connected with the capital which is invested. So therefore statement 2 is actually not connecting with the idea which is actually giving by the gross ratio. If this gross ratio was actually our net capital ratio, sorry, not net capital ratio, the capital turnover ratio. Capital turnover ratio. What was capital turnover ratio? Total capital divided by total income. Total capital divided by total income. If it was actually your capital turnover ratio, it will be giving the gross income obtained for each rupee of capital invested, then this statement would have been little more appropriate, right? So therefore, statement 2 is actually wrong. So statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is incorrect. Option C will be your correct answer. Okay, option C will be your correct answer here. Then, yeah, again another numerical, which is actually one of the easiest question, right? If the market demand function of a commodity is Q is equal to 40 minus 2P, what will be the price elasticity at P equal to rupees 5? When price is 5 rupees, how much will be your elasticity? Right? Sorry, what will be your elasticity? Price is okay. So here we have to study the elasticity of price elasticity of demand, right? And we have the two major things, that is one is Q and second one is P, right? So take out your rough sheet and try to figure this out. What we have to find out? The price elasticity. So what is price elasticity? EP is nothing but negative of change, percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in the price, right? Or we can say that relative change in the quantity demanded divided by relative change in the price, right? So this delta, since we have given the equation, we are giving it as a differential. It is none other than the relative change, right? So therefore it is none other than minus d minus percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. So here minus we can write this as minus dq by q divided by minus dp by p, right? So therefore this is, see, I am just again a little more I am explaining. Delta q by q divided by delta pi p by p, here into 100, here also into 100. Am I correct? This is actually your equation for the elasticity of price elasticity of demand, negative of relative change in the quantity demanded divided by relative change in the price. So this is actually equated to percentage change in the quantity divided by original quantity into 100 divided by change in price divided by initial price into 100. So this is how actually this negative and negative is cut off. This delta I am just differentiating, I'm just keeping it as a differentiation because it is none other than the relative change. So therefore minus dq by q divided by minus dp by p. So this is how actually we are arriving at it, right? So therefore the easiest equation for the elasticity of price, I think you would be already knowing it. I am just explaining how the people who are actually not understanding how this equation has reached out. So elasticity of price is none other than your dq by dp into p by q. I am taking this p to the side, dp also this side. So therefore this is actually the equation that is going to help you to solve this problem. Okay, so therefore minus dq by dp into p by q. This is actually the price elasticity of demand. So we have everything that we already needed. So what is this minus dq by dp? This is none other than the differentiation of the quantity function, right? So quantity function we already have. Q is equal to 40 minus 2p. So what is the differential of dq by dp? dq by dp is none other than 40, differential of 40 with respect to price, it will be 0. Minus 2p divided by dp, it's none other than minus 2, right? So dq by dp is minus 2. We require minus dq by dp. Let it be like that. We needed p by q, right? So what is p here? P is already 5. So p is 5. Then what is q? Q is none other than what is the quantity when the p is equal to 5? Q we already have here. So what is Q when P is equal to 5? I am substituting 5 here. 5 into 2, 10. 40 minus 10, it will be 30. So therefore Q is none other than 30. So I am substituting all these things in this equation. So therefore this is none other than minus of 2 is none other than 2 into what is my P? P is 5 divided by Q. Q is none other than here 30. So it's none other than 10 by 30, 1 by 3. Answer will be 0.33. This is how you will be getting your correct answer. Can everyone follow me? Can everyone follow me? Is it okay? Answer D will be the correct answer. Can everyone give me a thumbs up who's actually there in the live? Next question, the concept of increasing marginal returns of economies of scale. This is actually a factual question. Concept of increasing marginal returns of or economies of scale. This was given by none other than our Alfred Marshall. Factual question, direct question. So remember that the economies of scale, diseconomies of scale, concept of increasing marginal returns, all these things have given by none other than our fundamental economist Alfred Marshall. So C will be the correct answer here. No issues, no issues. Yes, C. Next question, again another easy question. The question is directly from the cost concepts. Rather than confusing us, they have given us ample options here to find out the correct answer here. So therefore, I always love this cost C because that is actually our helpline, right? Cost C is none other than cost B plus imputed value of family labor, right? So therefore, they have given cost B1 plus imputed value of family labor, cost B2 plus imputed value of family labor. So cost B1 plus imputed value of family labor will be cost C1. Cost B2 plus imputed value of family labor, cost C2, right? After calculating cost A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, we'll be having some income efficiency measures, which includes farm business income, family labor income, then net income, such kind of some measures are also there. So I think that also you have to find out. I think that is coming in some other question. Okay, then there is something which is very much easy again, specialized farming and diversified farming. What is specialized farming? More than 50% of the income will be generated from a single enterprise. A farm business deriving more than 50% of the income from a single enterprise, specialized farming. C will be connected with, okay, A will be connected with 2, B will be connected with 4, C will be connected with 1, and finally diversified farming, a farm business where no single enterprise contributes as high as 50%, because if it crosses 50%, it will be a specialized farming. So below 50%, more enterprises will be there, and therefore diversified farming will be connected with 3. So therefore 2, 4, 1, 3. 2, 4, 1, 3, option D will be your correct answer here. Okay, this is an easy question, like anybody can attempt this question, right? So such questions you have to first figure out and attempt, so that you will be having a little more confidence that okay, I have made this much correct, and I'll try my level best to make those uncertain things to also correct. Then, which of the following defines the marketable surplus of a farm household more appropriately? Marketable surplus and marketed surplus. Majority of the years they will be asking this question. So, what is marketable surplus? We already know producer surplus is classified into marketable surplus and marketed surplus. So, marketable surplus is none other than your production minus consumption. This is the basic formula that we study when we are studying the marketable surplus, right? So, what are the options? Quantity of produce actually sold in the market. What it is? Actually sold in the market is none other than the marketed surplus. It's not marketable surplus. So therefore A will not be the answer. Quantity produced minus household consumption requirement. Production minus consumption, right? Produced minus consumption requirement. So therefore chances for B are higher. Quantity produced plus quantity purchased. No, we are not studying such concepts. Total quantity produced. No, this is also like you can connect with maybe marketable. Okay, total quantity produced, this is actually having only a part of marketable surplus, but there are some consumption expenditure also. After consumption expenditure, what is remaining, which can be made available to the non-marketing population or maybe the consumer population. So option B will be your correct answer here. Easiest question, right? Arrange the formation of establishment of the following committees. Factual question again, direct hit from the finance. If you are good with the years in the agricultural finance portion, especially from the cooperative agencies in agricultural finance, then it is an easiest question, right? So therefore, we need to arrange it from the setup from the earliest to the latest. So National Cooperative Development and Warehousing Board, It was based on the National Cooperative and Warehousing Act of 1956. Based on this act, based on this board only, we have set up the Central Warehousing Corporation and State Warehousing Corporation. All these things are coming under the span of 1956 and 1957, right? NCDWB, Central Warehousing, State Warehousing Corporation, everything is coming under 1956, right? So therefore, this is coming under 1956, right? Then establishment of the Union Ministry of Cooperation of India. This has actually happened very recently, right? 2002 or 2022 or 2023 only. This separate Ministry for Cooperation was established. So this is the newest one. I think 2023. Sorry, 2021. Okay, this came in 2021. Then the Indian Farming Commission introduced by Edward Law Committee. Edward Law Committee, we are already studying in direct question. Direct statement is there in the Subbareddy, 1901. 1901. And R.G. Saraya headed the Cooperative Planning Committee. This is another important match the following question. Every year it will be asked. 1945. Cooperative Planning Committee, 1945, R.G. Saraya. Right. All these things we already know. So therefore, the earliest one will be C. Then after that, this Cooperative Planning Committee, D. Then after that, National Cooperative Development and Warehousing Board, A. And finally, this establishment of Union Ministry of Cooperation in India, that is B. So C, D, A, B, option C will be your correct answer. Okay. Yes. 44. I think it's 45, right? Yes. Cooperative Planning Committee is in 40. Maybe 44, 45. Like I think in 44 you are referring to subcommittee, Gadgil, Dr. Gadgil's agricultural subcommittee or some committee are there. I think you are referring to that. Maybe just discuss it. But still, till now, even if there is a confusion for 44 and 45, still it is not a direct hit question. The years are not overlapping. You have enough time span between the different events. So therefore, it's actually a sure shot question that you can make it clear. In my memory, it is actually in 45. This Cooperative Planning Committee is in 45. Just Agricultural Finance Subcommittee by Dr. Gadgil. It was in 1944, I guess, in my memory. Okay, just review it once again. As per the Agricultural Census 2010-11, arrange the following irrigation sources according to the percentage of irrigated area in decreasing order from the highest to lowest. We have not seen such questions in the PYQs. This is also another very severe factual questions, and my suggestion, if you are not having any idea about the irrigation structures of India, then just leave the question. Or if you want to give it a try from the options, you can find it out. So therefore, I'll be giving you the factual information. The tube wells is actually having the highest proportion or the highest percentage of irrigation source. So therefore, this is actually almost having 42 to 43%. Then after that, canals will be coming almost 24 to 26%. Then tanks and other resources, this is actually the minor source, like maybe 10 to 12%. And finally, the wells, the normal wells, it's almost like 18 to 20%. Okay, 18 to 20%. So always remember that, like, see, we have heard canal irrigation is there, tube well irrigation is also there. So right now, tube well irrigation is actually leading, following by canal irrigation. Well, generally we are using it for household purposes. Tanks and other resources, it's actually not sufficient to go for a large irrigated area, right? So this will be the minor resource. So that logic also would be applying here, even if you are not sure about the percentage, accurate percentage, but they are telling about the year of 2010 to 11. So we don't know how actually the technology has changed. So better, I don't know, like it's upon your discretion whether to attend such questions if they are coming. So I am giving the trap questions, which is like I'm just trying to explain you how actually the question is going to trap you. Maybe in some other way, if you are thinking means like there are chances of committing negatives. This is why actually I am telling that for the first revision, for the first round, you should understand how actually the difficulty level and to what level actually you have to attend the questions. Okay. So the answer is B, A, D and C. B, A, D, C. D will be your correct answer here. Yes, another graphical question, which is an interesting question. If you are basic with the, you are thorough with the basics, this is an easy, short question, right? Locus of combinations of two goods which yield the same level of satisfaction. Same level of satisfaction, two goods none other than your indifference curve, right? So therefore A will be connected with 2. Low cost of combinations the two goods that can be consumed at different levels of income. Two combinations of goods which can be consumed at different levels of income. Then none other than the counterpart of indifference curve, which helps us to find out the consumer equilibrium, which is none other than your budget line. So therefore B will be connected with 1. The curve showing the relationship between the levels of income and the quantity purchased at particular, none other than your income consumption curve. We have seen how actually income consumption curve is derived. From that, how we have derived the Engels curve, right? So therefore quantities purchased, right? So therefore C will be your Engels curve, the curve showing the relationship between the levels of income and quantity purchased. So therefore this will be connected with 4. Locus of combinations of all goods that can be purchased with a given level of income, which is none other than your income consumption curve. 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, right? Sorry. Some confusion has happened. Just give me a moment. Locus of combinations, indifference curve 2. Locus of combinations of two goods that can be consumed at different levels of income. Locus of combinations of two goods that can be purchased with the same level of income. It's none other than your budget line. This will be 1. Locus of combinations of two goods that can be consumed at different levels of income. This will be your Engel curve. This will be 3 and this will be 4. Yes. 2, 3, 4, 1. Yes, option B will be your correct answer, right? So locus of combinations of two goods which yield the same level of satisfaction. We know already that it is indifference curve. Locus of combinations of two goods that can be consumed at different levels of income. This is none other than your income consumption curve. Curve showing the relationship between the levels of income and the quantities purchased. It's none other than your expenditure, so it will be connected with the Engels curve. And finally, with a given income, which are the combinations which you can purchase, which is connected with the budget line. So therefore 2, 3, 4 and 1, option B will be your correct answer. Okay, yes, B should be 3. Yes, my mistake, sorry. Okay, so again another statement question. In a firm's objective of profit maximization, normal profit is the minimum income which entrepreneur must get in order to stay in the business. Okay, this is actually a correct statement. In the firm's objective profit maximization, normal profit is none other than, like, see, even in the market structure, even if we are referring to the what we call for it, even if we are referring to the profit maximization objective, when we are quoting with the normal profit, what is basically normal profit? Absolutely zero profit. That is none other than your normal profit, right? The plant is actually using the entire capacity which is provided, and there is no possible reorganization of the resource, so that the additional revenue generated will be equal to the additional cost. So therefore there is absolutely zero profit at that particular point of production, at that particular level of output production. The additional cost as well as additional returns and the additional profit will be, net profit will be zero at that particular point, right? So therefore this is actually the minimum profit, even if at that it's not a break-even point, but that is the basic idea, or the profit maximizing point. So therefore that is the minimum point at which actually the producer should be continuing it, or else like he'll be in loss, right? If it is behind, he can still increase the output and make it to this point. That is the normal profit point or optimal production. So therefore statement 1 is actually correct. What about statement 2? Normal profits includes entrepreneurs' wages of management and supervision and do not come under the maximization objective, obviously, because like this, if the normal profit maximizing point is at maybe the output level of 10, okay, so 10 units of production is actually happening. So at the 10th unit of production, you will be having a particular cost, which may be a wage, or which may be a cost of raw material or something like that. Also some returns for the 10th unit which is actually getting marketed, that is additional revenue, right? So obviously normal profit includes entrepreneurs' wages, management and supervision, because the one who's actually working also should be getting some profit. It's not the profit which actually we are dealing with, but the reward for the management, what actually he is doing, that also would be part of this normal profit, and it will not be coming under the maximization objective. So statement 2 is also correct. So statement 1 and statement 2 is correct. Option A will be your correct answer. The tenancy reforms. So there is actually a chapter in Subbareddy, you would have read it, I guess. Tenancy reforms, it's none other than the redistribution of the land. We had higher tax rates for, sorry, the rent rates for the land. After the independence, like we had too many committees for the land reforms and all, right? So therefore, the tenancy reform, the major objectives of the land reforms, included three major objectives. Directly it is given in the textbook. Direct statements are given in the textbook. There are three major objectives for the land reforms. First one was abolition of the intermediaries. We have studied zamindari system, mahalwari system, rayotwari system, right? So all this abolishment of the intermediaries who is actually collecting the money, and direct taxing, that is none other than the abolition of the intermediaries. Second one was tenancy reforms. Okay, second one was tenancy reforms, and the third one was reorganization of the agriculture. It's directly given. Okay, so under the tenancy reforms, the question is from under the tenancy reforms. Tenancy reforms as a component of land reforms relates to which of the following aspects? Abolition of the intermediary tenures is actually not a part of tenancy reforms. Why? Because land reforms is actually having three major components. First one is abolition of intermediary tenures. Second one is tenancy reforms. And the third one is the agricultural restructuring of the agriculture, right? So therefore, abolition of the intermediate tenures will not be coming under this tenancy reforms. Then what is coming under this tenancy reforms? Which includes security of tenancy. People should not lose their ownership rights. So therefore, security of tenancy will be there. Then regulation of the tenancy rent will be there. Like how much money, or please give me a moment. I'm sorry, I was getting continuous calls from my home. Okay. So security of tenancy, regulation of tenancy, tenancy rent, then confirmation of ownership rights to the tenants. They should not lose the ownership rights. Also, one more point is also there. The fourth one is actually, what was the fourth point? Yes, capping on the land holding. Like how much a maximum limit should be there for having, how much land holding should be there with a particular person. Such kind of ceiling of land holding will be there. So these are the things which is actually coming under the tenancy reforms. Abolition of intermediaries is actually removing the zamindars, mahalwaris, rayotwaris, right? So this is actually not coming under the tenancy reforms. It is actually coming under a broad category other than tenancy reform. So therefore, the tenancy reforms related to which of the following aspects? Security of the tenancy, regulation of the tenancy, and confirmation of the ownership rights, setting the land ceilings, right? So therefore, B, C, D, option D will be your correct answer. This is actually direct statement question which is taken from the Subbareddy textbook. Okay, so just go and, like, if you are having enough time, just go and have a read on the tenancy land reforms chapter, which is actually having only maybe 3 pages or so. So that will be helping you. Then another question, again a graphical question: average fixed cost, average variable cost, marginal cost, and total variable cost. We studied all these graphs in a particular single what we call for it, in a single graph in our master batch, right? So average fixed cost is actually a rectangular hyperbola. This is actually your average fixed cost. Then this can be your marginal cost. This is actually your average variable cost, and this is actually your average total cost, right? So marginal cost will be cutting the average fixed cost, average variable cost, and excuse me, average variable cost and average total cost in the minimum point, right? So these are all the things that we have already studied. So average fixed cost, it is actually a rectangular hyperbola. It will be connected with two average variable cost, that is U-shaped. Then marginal cost, inverted S shape, Total variable cost inverted L shape. Average fixed cost is hyperbola. Average variable cost is U-shaped. Total variable cost. This total variable cost is inverted S shape, and marginal cost is inverted L shape because it's almost like this. So therefore, you can say it's like an inverted L shape. So therefore, it can be connected with 4. So therefore, we can say like it is 2, then 1, then 4, and then 3. 2, 1, 4, 3. Yes, option B will be your correct answer here. Okay. So this is how actually you are arriving at the answer for this. I hope it is clear. Then arrange the following cooperatives organization in the ascending order as per their minimum requirement of membership. This is also actually a little more confusing. I must say this is actually a confusing question, because like if we are not studying that much membership like from all these aspects. Urban cooperatives bank, for PACs it is for the primary cooperative society PACs, it is actually almost like minimum 10 members should be there. Okay, so this is actually, it's correct. I mean, we are sure 10 members should be there. Farmer producer organization, minimum it is 10, but generally it will be more than 10, so it will be having much higher strength than that of a primary cooperative societies, I guess. Then multi-state cooperative societies, obviously this is actually having higher than members than that of PACs, so therefore this will be anyway, D will be greater than that of B. So therefore what would be the answer here? Urban cooperative bank, I don't know, like I'm not that sure like how many members it is coming. Multi-state cooperative society, as per their minimum requirement, cooperative organization, the ascending order. So higher should be D. Urban cooperative bank, C. Okay, I'm not that sure about this question. Like we'll revisit this question once. Like I need a little more like clarification regarding this question. Like because we're not studying these things as factual evidences in anywhere. So I have to revisit this question again. I'll just update this in the group in today night itself. Okay. Yes, match the list with list 2, list 1, list 2, price elasticity of demand and marginal revenue and average revenue. So here you should be understanding a basic relationship between the marginal revenue, average revenue, as well as the urban 50. Yes, urban 50, maybe I don't know, like I'm not that sure, I forgot about this factual things. In fact, like we'll just clarify it. Okay. Yes, regarding the price elasticity, average revenue and marginal revenue, you should be always remembering a fundamental relationship, that is none other than marginal revenue is equal to average revenue into 1 minus 1 by E. Okay, this is also we can rewrite as marginal revenue is equal to average revenue into E minus 1 by E. Okay, this is the fundamental relationship between marginal revenue, average revenue, as well as price elasticity. Yes, MR is equal to P into 1 divided by E. Yes, so therefore here they have given the price elasticity of demand. Elasticity greater than 1, equal to 1, less than 1. This is actually not 0, this is actually infinity. I don't know how, in order to not giving it properly, they have given 2 zeros. This is infinity. So substituting this elasticity value in this equation, you can understand whether actually average revenue and marginal revenue, how actually it is behaving. Okay, what if elasticity of demand is greater than 1? Applying this to this equation, elasticity of demand is greater than 1, right? So therefore E minus 1 will be like elasticity of demand, as it is greater than 1, it will be maybe 5 minus 1 or maybe 4 minus 1 or maybe 10 minus 1 or something like that, right? So therefore when we are giving here a larger value, what will be happening? 5 minus 1, 4 minus 1, 3 divided by again this 4 will be coming, right? So therefore marginal revenue is equal to average revenue into 4 by 5, right? So what will be happening here? Obviously marginal revenue will be a part of average revenue, so therefore marginal revenue will be less than average revenue here. Am I correct? So this is how actually you have to arrive at each and every situation. So therefore since marginal revenue is equal less than average revenue, and it is not going to end up here, so therefore A will be connected with 4. A will be connected with 4. Option D is the only right answer. A is connected with the 4. Rest everything, if you are checking, the easiest one is elasticity of demand is equal to 1. You don't want to confuse with the values here. Just directly check the easiest way. elasticity 1 is equal to 1, elasticity of demand is equal to 1. Here if you are checking here, it is none other than it is equal to 1. 1 minus 1 will be 0, so therefore marginal revenue will be 0, right? So therefore B will be connected with 3, but B is connected here as well as here, so this is actually okay. Then what about C? Elasticity of demand is less than 1. When elasticity of demand is less than 1, this will be less than 1, so therefore this will be a greater value, this will be a negative value, marginal revenue will be negative here, so therefore here marginal revenue will be negative, C will be equal to 2. And finally, when elasticity of demand is equal to infinity, when elasticity of demand is equal to infinity, what will be happening? 1 divided by 1 minus E, this one will be equal to infinity, 1 minus infinity will be equal to 0, so therefore marginal revenue will be equal to average revenue, D will be connected with 1, D is connected with 1, so therefore D will be the correct answer here. So this is how actually, like, see, when we are having this fundamental equation of average, sorry, marginal revenue is equal to average revenue into 1 minus 1 by E. This is the fundamental identity. If here we are having this, applying these conditions, here you will be arriving at how the marginal revenue as well as the value of average revenue will be interconnected. So this is how actually you will be arriving at the correct answer for the 60th question. Another statement question. Given below are two statements. One is labeled as assertion and one is labeled as reason. So assertion: increase in the national income causes an improvement in the economic welfare of the community. Obviously that will be there, right? Increase in the national income means like there is a growth. Increase in the welfare of the society can be accommodated. So therefore assertion is actually correct here. Then higher production of material goods and services in the country may result in the deterioration of the human environment. Obviously that also will be happening, along with coupled with the, see, some metros are happening, metropolitan cities are developing, but at the same time it is causing some pollution to the environment, right? What happens in the metropolitan cities like Delhi and all. So therefore second one is also a correct answer, but this is not actually explaining whether the improvement of the economic welfare of the community is actually accompanied with the national income level. So therefore both are statements, but they are not connected with each other. So therefore assertion is correct, reason is correct, and reason is not the correct explanation of the assertion. B will be the correct answer here. Next question: which of the following agencies account for the highest share in the institutional credit to the agricultural sector in India? Maybe you would be going to the cooperative banks first, right? But this was actually the earlier condition. While we were dealing with the post-independence era, cooperative bank, maybe in the in the this one also, like what we call for it, Nirmal Ravikumar textbook also, you would be finding out cooperative banks will be having a higher share. But this scenario has changed right now, because in the answer key also they have given the commercial bank, because like after nationalization, this commercial banks, they are having priority sector lending. Even Kisan credit card scheme is actually connected with the commercial banks. So right now if you are checking, commercial banks is actually having institutional credit to the agricultural sector for almost 75 to 80%. So this is actually an updating that you have to do right now. Okay, 75 to 80%, 80% is actually done by commercial banks. If you are checking about cooperative banks, it is actually just maybe 15 to 18%. Please give me a moment. Hello. പറയടാ എടാ ഞാൻ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ എനിക്കൊരു പാർസൽ എടുക്കുമോ? Okay, thank you. Okay, sorry for that. Yes, so therefore cooperative bank, the one that you are referring, which is actually giving you the highest percentage, it is actually giving only 15 to 18% right now, because that's how actually we have seen a question like why actually cooperative societies is getting deteriorated these days. So this is actually only giving 15 to 18%, and the regional rural bank, this is actually giving you only 8 to 10%, 8 to 10%, and the microfinancial institutions, which is actually giving only small credits, which is having much lesser share. So therefore if you are saying how actually the share of these banks these days, first one will be commercial. Okay, update this idea to your mind, commercial, then after that only will be cooperative will be coming, then after that only this regional rural banks will be coming, and finally only this microfinancing institutions, MF microfinance institutions, MFIs will be coming. Okay, so this is how actually the agencies share in the institutional credit these days. So therefore the answer will be commercial banks. Okay, update your memory regarding this. Then match the list 1 with list 2. Again another factual question from the agricultural finance, and here I am like you will be knowing that this general agreement on tariff and trade, GATT, was came in 1948 and the WTO in 1995. So therefore B will be connected with 2. We shall see B will be connected with 2 answers, A as well as B. So therefore C and D is actually eliminated. Then committee headed by SM Kelkar to review the working of the monetary system. A review committee headed by ML Dandwala to review the progress of working of RRBs. So D will be connected with B and C will be connected with 4, I guess, right? C will be connected with, yeah, not correct. These 2 things, Kelkar committee as well as the Dantwala committee. See, maybe you would have seen this 2 ideas, maybe not in the textbook directly in the cooperative finance education, when that chapter, corporate institutions in the agricultural finance, but in the back of the textbook there is some annexures, and they have given some committees along with the one who's actually the headed the committee as well as the year. There actually you can find out this SM Kelkar committee, which reviews the working of the monetary system. So working of the monetary system, Kelkar committee was in 1986. C is connected with 1986. Then the review committee headed by ML Dandwala. This is actually there in the RRB's restructuring process, like the Khusro committee, Bandari committee, Dandwala committee. So this review committee, this was actually the final committee. This was actually, I think, in 1977. This is actually 1977. D is connected with 1. And if you are knowing all these 3 things, because these 3 are there in the textbook, All India Debt Survey Committee, this actually came very recently. This is there in 1998, fourth one. So therefore the answer will be 4, 2, 3 and 1. 4, 2, 3 and 1. Option B will be your correct answer here. Okay, this is your correct answer. So what I was suggesting is like, along with the notes that you have prepared for the committees as well as the years that you have already proposed, just go through the basic table which is actually given in the Subari textbook itself in the backside, because like some of the additional information which is not properly furnished in the theoretical area is given properly there. So all these things you can find out, except this All India Debt and Investment Survey Committee. These things, Committee on SM Kelkar of Monetary Policy, and D, you can find out in the backside table. Okay. Then 2 statements. In perfect competition, the long run supply curve of the industry may be a horizontal straight line. This is actually kind of a question which is asked from the advanced microeconomics textbook, which is actually not there in our syllabus. This is actually there. For example, if we are checking the long run supply curve, the demand as well as the supply of the product is actually making the long run supply curve horizontal or vertical. Okay, so if the demand and supply curve is actually going like this, the equilibrium points, if it is coming directly, it will be a horizontal line. If the equilibrium points are coming like this, it will be a increasingly sloped straight line. It is, if coming like in a negative way, it can be a decreasingly sloped straight line. And this such kind of increasingly slope, horizontally sloping and decreasingly sloping supply curve, you can only find out in the case of perfect competition. So therefore assertion or option A is correct. And as the industry expands, it experiences neither the net external economies or net diseconomies. This is actually happening as a reason of this increasing or decreasing or constant cost industries. Okay, so what actually this decreasing cost industry or increasing cost industry or constant cost industry? This is nothing but as the demand of the product is actually increasing, obviously what will be happening? Since the demand is increasing, the plant will be trying to expand its production, right? So as the plant is expanding its production, there can be some externalities or maybe economies or maybe diseconomies due to maybe some externalities, right? For example, I was having a pharmacy company which is actually having some vaccine making mechanism. Okay, at that time, the time is 2019, and then the global pandemic of COVID-19 has happened. So what will be happening? There is some windfall gains, there is some positive externality for increasing the production, right? So at that point, Government will be giving too much fund, private firms will be giving too much fund, so therefore I am having some economies, right? So therefore you can give the product at a reduced price while expanding, right? So at that point of time it will be having a negatively sloping market, the long run supply curve. At the same time, if demand is more, but for the additional production I may have to incur more cost rather than the previous particular amount of product, obviously what will be happening, some diseconomies is occurring. So at that point of time your long run supply will be like this. And if the diseconomies as well as the externality net economies are actually compensating each other, you can find out a horizontal long run supply curve, right? So therefore in perfect competition, long run supply curve of an industry may be a horizontal straight line, and as the industry expands it experiences neither net external economies or diseconomies, because of not operating the external economies as well as the diseconomies, only this horizontal straight line has happened, or it is actually compensating each other. So that's actually the reason for the assertion. So therefore assertion and reason are correct, and reason is the correct explanation for assertion. Option A will be the correct answer. Is it clear? I hope it's clear. Yes. Given below are two statements. One is labeled assertion and reason. Again, two branches of economics, namely micro and macroeconomics, are interdependent to some extent. Yes, obviously, one is complementing to the other, right? We have studied this as the modern divisions of economics, micro and macro. Even if we are studying it as a separate of each other, how we are trying out to generalize the ideas of microeconomics with respect to the macro equilibrium. So what is the reason? The theory aggregated consumption function is based upon the behavior patterns of the individual consumers. Obviously, what is this aggregate consumption function? Consumption is actually a function of income. Consumption is actually a function of income. What actually happens with one consumer? What happens with the second consumer? What happens to the entire consumer? So we are trying to figure out the micro behavior to the macro economy. That is none other than your reason. So therefore assertion is correct, reason is correct, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. So therefore option A will be your correct answer here. Okay, option A will be your correct answer here. Then next question. Again, another factual statement question. Bombay Cooperative Societies Act, Multi-Unit Cooperative Societies Act, Multi-State Cooperative Societies Amendment Act, and Multi-State Cooperative Organizations Act. So here the Bombay Cooperative Societies Act is on 1925. I don't know from where they are keeping this question. This is actually totally out of syllabus, but still. Multi-Unit Cooperative Societies Act, there is no such act. I don't know. Like I have searched for it, but I couldn't find out such kind of a act there. Then Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act and Multi-State Multi-State Organization Act is actually not there. This is actually not there. Multi-State Unit Cooperative Societies Act and Multi-State Cooperative Societies Amendment Act. First one came in 1984. 1984. And the multi-state, this is actually an amendment of this. It actually came in 2002. So this is what actually we have: A, B, and C from the earliest to the latest. Which of the following Cooperative Societies Act were promulgated after independence in India? After independence, B as well as C. So therefore answer will be B and C only. Answer B will be the correct answer here. Okay. There is no such act as Multi-State Cooperative Organizations Act. This Bombay Cooperative Societies Act is actually previous of independence in 1925. So therefore answer will be B and C only. Option B will be your correct answer here. Okay. Then this is actually regarding the basic ideas of production. The first chapter of production economics in Subbareddy's textbook, we are studying some of the things like agricultural holding. So what is agricultural holding? It's none other than the area which is actually operated, whether cultivated or not, or maybe leased in or out, which is under a single management, right? Then there is something called operational holding. What is operational holding? Operational holding, like it excludes the leased out land and how much is actually cultivated by the particular farmer. Then what is family holding? Some income requirements they are telling, like gross income of 1,600 rupees or net income of 1,200 rupees. If it is generating, it is actually an family holding. Then what is optimum holding? Optimum holding, like it is the maximum size of the family should possess, and this optimum holding we can relate with the family holding as 3 times of family holding is the optimum holding, right? And finally then there is economic holding. Economic holding is actually the holding which is actually giving the reasonable standard of living. So statement is related with the same. Optimum holding is a holding so smaller than economic holding which may be able to provide a reasonable standard of living. It's done because reasonable standard of living, providing a reasonable standard of living is none other than the economic holding. It's not the optimum holding. So therefore statement 1 is wrong. Statement 2, basic holding refers to the maximum size of the holding which a family should possess. The maximum size a family should possess is none other than your optimum holding, not the basic holding. So therefore statement 2 is also wrong. So therefore statement 1, statement 2 is incorrect. Both statement 1 and 2 are incorrect here. Okay, basic simpler definitions that we have to by heart. You have to revise it once again and have to by heart it again. So these are the answers for the 77th question. Then again another some scientists as well as the basic ideas they have given for the consumption theory, I guess. So logical weak ordering theory, revealed preference theory, ordinal utility analysis and cardinal utility analysis. First thing we studied cardinal utility analysis, none other than our pioneer Alfred Marshall. So this will be going to 2. This will be going to 2. Then ordinal utility analysis or indifference curve, we have studied it's Hicks and Allen. Also Edgeworth also have contributed. So therefore it will be connected with 1. Revealed preference theory we have studied, which none other than Paul Samuelson. So therefore it will be connected with 4. Then there is logical weak ordering theory. We are not studying this as in-depth understanding we are not studying, but we are mentioning about this logical weak ordering theory. So this is connected with J.R. Hicks. So therefore A will be connected with 3. So therefore answer will be, even if you are not aware with this one also, you have the answer here already, right? 4, 1 and 2. 4, 1 and 2 is coming here. So therefore obviously answer will be C. Clear? Even if we are not knowing, like why I am saying like this means like there can be people who are not knowing this. For who those who maybe started the preparation late, you can also crack the answer with the available information that you are already having. Okay, then under perfect competition, where AR is equal to MR is equal to P, identify a situation when a firm decides to continue operating in short run while incurring losses. We have studied the concept of shutdown point, right? So what is the shutdown point? The minimum point of the average variable cost, right? Minimum point of the average variable cost. There are 2 options. People are having maybe the one is actually having maybe some enough funds. He can either operate the business or maybe even he can go for maybe some fixed deposits or something, right? If he is operating the business, even anyway the fixed cost will be incurred. Even if he is doing his business or even he is not doing the business, the fixed cost will be incurred, right? So while doing the business, what is the additional cost which is incurred? It is none other than the variable cost or operating expenses. So if your total revenue cannot cross even your operating expenses, then what is the point of doing this business? That is the basic idea. So even if the firm is not profitable, the one should be covering by his total revenue with respect to the average variable cost, right? So therefore the marginal revenue should be equal to marginal cost. That is the basic idea of profit maximizing point. So marginal revenue should be equal to marginal cost, and the additional revenue generated should be always greater than that of the minimum point of the average variable cost. It can even reach up to average variable cost, which is actually the shutdown point. Whether the farmer will be in a confusion like whether to close down or whether to continue it, because both will be the same, right? Even if it is going down means he have to close down. That's why it is called a shutdown point. So while incurring the losses, where actually he have to proceed, marginal rate equal to marginal cost and marginal revenue should be greater than average variable cost. So your answer will be option C. The basic idea is none other than while you are doing some business, the return should be at least covering the working expenses. Even if the fixed cost is not covered, also the working expenses should be covered, or else there is no point of continuing the result, the business. That's why actually the answer C will be coming as a correct answer. Then which of the following is not an indirect tax? We have given many different examples. Direct tax is mostly your income duty, right? Income tax. Then there are different tax, indirect tax, like maybe sales tax, customs duty, property duty, excise duty, all these things. So customs duty will be coming. Wealth tax, this is actually directly proportional to the wealth that you are possessing. So therefore this can be a direct tax. Central excise duty. Excise duty is actually an indirect tax. Sales tax is also an indirect tax. So therefore option B will be your correct answer, which is actually a direct tax. This is actually proportional to the wealth that you are possessing. So therefore it is actually not an indirect tax, and B will be your correct answer here. Again, two statements. Common sense is a prima facie requirement for obtaining credit from the borrower. What is this common sense? This is none other than your fifth C. Fifth C. What are the fifth C? Character, capacity, capital, condition, common sense. Fifth C is common sense. And the first sentence of common sense in your Subari textbook is none other than common sense is actually the prima facie requirement. If you are not at all having any other things also, you should be having this, because this is actually the fundamental thing that you should be having while you are going for credit, right? So common sense is in fact the prima facie requirement of obtaining a credit for the borrower. This is actually a correct answer. Direct statement from the textbook. As the debt equity ratio increases, the borrower faces less risk of losing owned capital. As the debt equity ratio increases, what is the debt equity ratio? Debt equity ratio is none other than your total liabilities divided by total assets, right? Total liabilities divided by total assets. So therefore a lesser ratio of debt equity ratio you will be having, I think, total liabilities divided by not total assets, owner's equity. Owner's equity, right? It is owner's equity. So a lesser value of your debt equity ratio, you will be having more advantage, right? Because you need a lesser ratio to understand like whether you are in a good position or not when it comes to debt equity ratio, because it is a negative ratio, right? So what is the statement? As the debt equity ratio increases, as debt equity ratio increases means like your financial position is getting worse because your liabilities are more. You have much money to settle rather than the original things that you are having with your hand, right? So as debt equity ratio increases, the borrower faces less risk of losing owned capital. Is it? No. I have to repay almost like maybe 10 lakh or maybe 50 lakh to the bank, and I own maybe 2 acres of land. As my what we call for it, like my debt is increasing, the chances of getting my land lost to the bank is actually higher, right? So they are telling that borrower faces less risk of losing his equity. No, he is actually having higher risk as the debt equity ratio increases. So therefore statement 2 is incorrect. So statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is incorrect. Option C will be your correct answer. Okay, I'm not getting any responses in the chat box. Can you follow me? So everyone went for dinner. Even I am also feeling so hungry. I hope it's clear. Yes, it's almost like ending. Then, which statement about the marginal propensity to consume is true? So we already know where actually the marginal propensity to consume is coming, right? This is none other than it's coming under our what we call for it, the absolute income hypothesis, which was proposed by Keynes, or Keynes psychological consumption function, right? Yes. So here we have studied consumption is actually a function of income, right? And we have elaborated it like A plus B Y, and this B was none other than your marginal propensity to consume, right? Marginal propensity to consume. So we are going to see to apply these statements in the practical scenario, so that it will be a little more easy. Marginal propensity to consume to the rich people is comparatively lower. Marginal propensity of the poor people is comparatively higher. What will be happening here? Like how we can connect this here? We have studied that as income increases, consumption increases. So we are taking an example. Okay, rich people as well as poor people. Rich people, they are already having everything. Imagine that this consumption of some food grains, maybe rice. Okay, imagine that the income is increasing, maybe from 1 crore to 2 crore. Whether they will be doubling their consumption here? What do you think? Because they already have what they are having. Increasing the income will not be increasing the consumption of additional 10 sack of rice, or maybe some daily I am eating 5 chapatis. Yesterday I got an additional income, so therefore I am going to eat 10 chapatis today. No, because our consumption is almost same, because they are already rich. At the same time, if they are poor people who are actually having bare minimum of food, even maybe at times they are literally eating nothing. So at that time, if they are having a little more higher income, means the chances of increasing consumption will be more here, right? So what is this marginal propensity to consume? Marginal propensity to consume is none other than when one unit of income increases, how much consumption increases. When income increases, when the consumption will be increasing more when it comes to the poor people. So this B value will be higher. So therefore, marginal propensity for the rich people will be lesser, and marginal propensity for the poor people will be comparatively higher. Both these statements are correct. I hope you got my point. Let us break this down. Third value, marginal propensity can be equal to 0. Obviously, yes. What is this A called? We studied this in our macroeconomics class, right? A is none other than your autonomous consumption. Imagine that you are having 0 income, like me. We are not having any income because we are unemployed right now, right? Still, whether your consumption of your dinner is 0, no. We will be just, at least for our survival, we have to consume something even if we are having 0 income, right? So therefore, this is known as autonomous consumption. B value can be 0, right? And we have studied another thing. The range of marginal propensity to consume is from 0 to 1, right? So therefore, option C is also correct. What about option D? Value of MPC can be greater than 1. No, we have studied the ranges 0 to 1, right? So therefore, D is incorrect. So therefore, A, B, C are correct. Option A will be your correct answer here. Okay, option A is your correct answer here. Who led Bardoli Satyagraha 1928 as a tax revolt by farmers against the unjust 22% increase in the land revenue in some parts of India? This was pre-independence era. We are not studying as such in the textbook here. This is actually from a general perspective question. I think maybe for those people who are studying for UPSC or something, they can answer this. So this is actually something called, like, the British government has were trying to get exorbitant rate of interest of 22% from the land, and it was actually led by the famous freedom movement person who was none other than our Sardar Vallabhai Patel. So Sardar Vallabhai Patel, like, this is actually a milestone event in the national movement in 1928. So actually this tax revolt, after this tax revolt only, Vallabhai Patel was actually called Sardar, and finally he was actually called as Sardar Vallabhai Patel from that point onwards. So Sardar Vallabhai Patel and Bardoli Satyagraha both are connected things. Maybe from your old school history classes you would have heard this. So it's actually a factual historical question. In chi-square test, the contingency table has 4 rows and 4 columns, then the degrees of freedom will be. So I urge you for F test, T test, Z test and all, how to calculate the degrees of freedom. Mostly it will be n-1, but in chi-square test, since we are having rows and columns as expected and observable frequencies, we need to understand how to calculate the degrees of freedom. For every test, there will be a proper degrees of freedom, what we call for it, degrees of freedom formula will be there. Okay, that formula you have to by heart. So here for chi-square test, rho minus 1 divided by column minus 1. Rho minus 1 into column minus 1 will be giving you the chi-square test degrees of freedom. So we have a table of 4 rows and 4 columns. 4 minus 1, 3 into columns 4 minus 1, 3, 3 into 3 equal to 9. This will be your answer. Option D will be your correct answer. Okay. Again, next question, the central bank or the Reserve Bank of India is the sole authority for the issue of currency in the country. Yes, statement 1 is correct. He is actually the sole authority, but we know that the 1 rupee note, which is actually not printed these days, but 1 rupee note is actually printed by Government of India, but still it is not there in the circulation, and legal tender issues are there. We can say that the statement 1 is generally correct. Statement 1, RBI is actually the sole authority of printing currencies in India. Statement 2, all paper currency notes and coins are printed out by Reserve Bank of India. Even if we exclude 1 rupee note also, we have a problem here. Coins. Always remember that the notes are printed by Reserve Bank, but the coins are minted by Government of India. The 1 rupee coin that we are using, 2 rupee coin that we are using, 50 paise, maybe 5 rupee, 10 rupee, all these are minted by government, not by the Reserve Bank of India. Okay, government is actually having minting institutions. So therefore, all paper currency notes are printed by Reserve Bank of India means it would have been okay, but coins, this is actually from Government of India. So therefore, statement 2 is incorrect, statement 1 is correct, and statement 2 is incorrect. Option C will be your correct answer here. Okay. concept of opportunity cost was first developed by? Again, another factual question. It was given by Friedrich von Weiser. Okay, Friedrich von Weiser. This was actually a new information for me. I was not, knowing this person. So Friedrich von Weiser is actually the one who have actually developed the concept of opportunity cost principle. Oh, sorry, opportunity cost, not opportunity cost principle. Opportunity cost principle was proposed by Haberler, who was actually, we will be studying in the international trade. If you have studied, Haberler was actually the one who have proposed the opportunity cost principle that comes in the international trade. This was actually the opportunity cost, the concept of next best alternative which is foregone. That is the basic idea. Okay. Then, which of the following statement is characterized by the inferior goods? Again, I think like in the last day, like I have given some snapshot regarding the inferior goods versus different goods in the group. I think you have followed it, because one question will be there from the income effect, substitution effect, price effect with respect to normal or inferior or different good. First question, the quantity demanded varies directly with respect to the price. Absolutely incorrect, right? Why? Because inferior good actually follows law of demand. Giffen good, if this was giffen good, then quantity demanded varies directly with the price, because we studied giffen good as an exception of law of demand. But inferior goods, no, it's actually following law of demand, right? So therefore, this is actually a false statement. It is varies indirect with respect to the price. It follows law of demand. So therefore, A will be wrong. Income effect of the price change is negative. Substitution effect of price change is negative. C we can directly go, right? Because like substitution effect of price change was always negative for each and every commodities. Normal good, inferior good, different good, substitution effect is negative. So therefore, C is actually a correct answer. So what right now comes is like you should be knowing that when it comes to normal goods, when it comes to inferior goods, and when it comes to different goods, how actually the income effect is working, how actually the substitution effect is working, how actually the price effect is working. Okay, this is actually the easy idea that I used to, like, rather than conceptually taking, I will be just drawing this table, plus minus 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 plus. This is actually the table that you have to simply by heart. So therefore it is much easy. So think about, like, we are talking about the inferior goods, right? So income effect of a price change is negative. What actually happens? Income effect is actually negative here. So therefore B is also correct answer, right? We know that when it comes to inferior goods as well as different goods, even if the income effect and substitution effects are negative, it's regarding like how much income effect as well as substitution effect is actually balanced there, right? So in the case of inferior goods, what will be happening? Substitution effect outweighs the income effect, right? So income effect works in the opposite direction of the substitution effect, but is not large enough to outweigh the substitution effect. It's clear, right? So therefore D is also a correct answer. From this table, we have done everything clear here. So therefore, B, C and D. Option D will be your correct answer. Hope you got my point. Okay. Yes, the table shows the yield of wheat for last 7 years in an insurance unit area. Calculate the threshold yield. This is also like kind of a, I don't know, out of hand question, because like I don't know how many of you will be knowing this idea of threshold yield and all. So if they are telling that it is based on the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, they have given the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, 7 years data they have given, and the indemnity is actually given as 90% indemnity, right? So for Rabi wheat of 2015 to 16, in order to estimate the yield losses under calculate the threshold yield. So the basic idea that you have to understand here is none other than the threshold yield. The threshold yield is actually the average yield into indemnity. Average yield into indemnity. Average yield into indemnity. Even if they have given for the last 7 years, based on the provisions of Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, if some what we call for it, some natural calamities are happened, when we are taking the average yield, the natural calamity is hitting, so therefore the yield of that particular year will be reduced much. So that will be affecting the average yield, right? So we can exclude maximum up to 2 years where actually some natural calamities has been already happened. So when you are checking the each individual value, see 4,500 is a good yield, 3,500 it's a good yield, 3,000 it's a good yield, 4,000 it's a good yield, 1,800. something has happened in 2012 to 2013. So this is actually good, because like we are excluding, because this is going to affect the average yield here, right? Then 5,000 is again a good yield, but 1,500 in 2000. So these two values we are just trying to eliminate here, because this is going to affect our average yield, and we are taking the average of the another 5 years, right? So therefore 4,500, 3,500, 3,000, 4,000 and 5,000, total is 20,000 kilogram per hectare. 20,000 kilogram per hectare divided by 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. You will be getting average yield of 4,000 kilogram per hectare into, what is the indemnity? 90%. 90 divided by 100. It's none other than 3,600. 3,600 is your correct answer here. So this is how actually you have to find out the indemnity, the amount of indemnity based on the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. New information, get it as a reference for the future examinations. Okay. Then again another question from the aggregate measure of support. Like we have studied, like the domestic support is classified into amber box, green box, blue box. Most trade distorting measures are coming under amber box. Least trade distorting measure is coming under green box, and product specification conditions are given in the blue box. Such kind of things we have already studied, right? So there are two statements: product specific support and non-product specific support are the main constituents of the amber box to limit domestic support measures under WTO. This is actually a correct statement. Under amber box, there are two supports. First one is product specific support. For example, rice MSP, wheat MSP, sugarcane MSP. This is actually some minimum support price standards for a particular price, that they are called as product specific support. Okay, product specific support. But there are some other subsidies which are trade distorting, called as fertilizer subsidies, irrigation subsidies, such kind of things, which is actually not particular for a particular crop. It is actually applicable for a vast number of, or large number of crops, right? So there are product specific support as well as non-product specific support based on the amber box. That is clear. Second one, input subsidy expenditure on fertilizer, canal irrigation and power are examples of product specific support. No, we have already studied, like it is actually applicable to a particular crop. These are actually, this can be used for like fertilizer subsidy, canal irrigation subsidy, power subsidy. Everything can be applied to a vast number of crops. So they are actually non-product specific. If the statement was the input subsidy expenditure on a fertilizer, canal irrigation and power are examples of non-product specific support, then this statement would have been correct. But right now it is actually wrong. So therefore statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is wrong, statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is incorrect. Option C will be your correct answer. Okay. Another one, yes, this is what actually I was talking about in some of our previous question that we have already seen. So there are some income measures after calculating the cost A1, cost B1 and cost C1. First one is family labor income. Family labor income is none other than gross income minus cost A1. Sorry, farm business income is the first concept, that is gross income minus cost A1. Then family labor income, which is none other than the gross income minus cost B. Then there is something called net income, which is none other than your gross income minus cost C. Then there is some two, I think like these two match the following, they have created together and they have just jumbled it, because there also we had another two combinations, right? The National Commission on Agriculture, you already know that, right? National Commission on Agriculture was in 1976, and the final one, National Irrigation Commission, I don't know when it was. It is in 1972. Obviously that will be coming, right? So therefore 2, 1, 4 and 3. 2, 1, 4 and 3. Option A will be your correct answer here. Option A will be your correct answer. Then minimum marginal cost occurs at an output where, see, we have already seen the production as well as the consumption duality, cost duality, right? The production as well as the cost duality. We, in the production class, after our factor and factor product relationship, we have already discussed, like corresponding point of a highest marginal physical product will be the minimum point of the marginal cost. Highest point of the average physical product will be corresponding to the minimum point of the average variable cost. That is actually the duality concept, right? So therefore minimum marginal cost occurs at the output where marginal product of a variable factor cost is maximum. direct question. Statement is correct. Option B will be your correct answer. Indian agriculture has shown robust growth during the period financial year 2017 to financial year 2023. The annual growth rate registered during this period averaged to 5%. This is actually a factual question. In 2025 January, the economic survey has been released, and this was actually directly taken from the statement. 2025 economic survey has been released, and this is actually a factual Indian economic kind of question. As I have already told, if you are going to study the Indian economic survey, it is actually a large document, and by hearting all the document values are literally difficult. I don't know how far you can pull it off, but still, this is how actually they have taken the question. That is what I am giving. Or else from 70 to 23, nobody is going to remember all the questions and find out like what is the average growth and all those things, right? So this was actually sourced from the Indian economic survey, and to 17 to 23 growth in the Indian agriculture was 5% based on the January published 2025 Indian economic survey. So yes, here comes to an end to our PYQ discussion. Okay, PYQ discussion for the 2025. I hope, like as I have already told in the beginning, like much of the questions were factual, much of the questions were statement. It was actually a medium to difficult question, but still we are trying to apply our logic as well as our the information that we already have inside, rather than being a master of everything. Okay, just for trust yourself, revise the things that you have already discussed, and I hope our journey has helped you a lot. So for those people who are not yet actually started practicing the MCQs, we have topic wise as well as full length mock test bundles, which is still there. You can purchase it from the AgriAddict family. So the PG examination is actually given in the in a reduced price. Also there are the previous year batch course recorded classes will be there. Also we are starting a new batch for the next year. So if you really find it helpful for your preparation of the ICAR, JRF and SRF examinations, you can recommend these courses to your juniors or the people who are seeing this for the third year preparation. Obviously you can join us. So Shrestha batch will be giving the PG exam preparation for 2027, and we have a foundation batch for the upcoming year 2028. So pass this information to your juniors only if only if you feel this as helpful rather than self preparation, because like I am that confident enough, like it's already like our third year in the social science stream and we are doing very good, and we have the juniors that the students that we were having in AgriAddict are our juniors as well as our mentors along with the AgriAddict family. So we are hoping the best in the future years also. So thank you, and all the best for your examinations.